Hey everyone, and welcome back to my completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS. And it is time to finally get out of this level, of this dungeon. Now that we have obtained in the last episode that air elemental statuette, we can open this door, we can teleport ourselves here, and visit this pocket plane of air, I guess. Pocket planes are kind of a concept that we're going to learn more about later, but as you can see from the description, it seems like we're somewhere like very high up in the sky, and we just have to reorganize our equipment a little bit. And also one mistake I've made is that after obtaining that other warhammer, I completely like spaced out, zoned out there, and instead of equipping it here in her offhand so that she can have both warhammers in like both hands and get back to her usual doings with dual wielding warhammers and having better thaco on the offhand attack, I just somehow completely didn't think about it. Alright, we actually can give these like quest items to Jaheira, I guess. And that's it for now. Can you identify? Yeah, she can identify these bracers of defense, AC 8. And as you can see, all of these armor items like these bracers and like the chainmail and splint mail, and the shields, they look different of course from their Baldur's Gate 1 equivalents. That's just something that comes with the territory of this being Baldur's Gate 2, but you'll get used to it soon enough. Okay, so here we're going to have a couple of these different method types that can either blind us or stun us. Unfortunately, this is only a group of 2, and there's going to be another group of 2 later on, like up ahead when progressing west, but the main encounter is up there. And there's going to be like 5 of them there, and with all of these abilities, and if they do an AoE stun that lands on most of us, it's unlikely to kill anyone, but it is likely that we're going to suffer quite a bit of unnecessary damage. So we're going to approach kind of in groups, basically, that main encounter, that main kind of platform there. We're going to approach in a specific manner. Here's a scroll. Now we're going to keep, we could use it right here, but yeah. I'm going to keep it for scribing later with Senashira, or maybe selling. We're going to get plenty of scrolls for scribing, but the first order of business here is that we have to heal up everyone. Oh, we already have 3 potions? Jaheira doesn't have the potions. Yeah, we're just going to use these small healing potions to heal up, since they're still a little useful before our health pools grow so much. And I want to also keep the big potions for like in combat situations, where we want to of course heal up in one go for as much as possible. Alright, so here we're going to have Minsk and Jaheira. Actually just Minsk approach first, so they can use all of their spells on him, because they have like AoE stuns and stuff like that. So I want them to use their spells on Minsk, and then we're going to approach with the other guys. We're going to leave Imoen behind, and we're going to switch to ranged weaponry on Kara-Tur. This is a worthy encounter for her to actually switch to her thrown daggers. Yeah, so he's both blinded and stunned. And now, wow, they can do some damage, huh? And Imoen is... should go somewhere else. I kind of wanted to leave her behind, but... yeah. Alright, Minsk, you need to drink something, buddy. Alright. Alright, it was a little messy, but I think this is as... pretty much, this was kind of decent, I guess, when it comes to minimizing the effects of their spells. Like I said, if you just approach with your whole group up there and they use some of their abilities, you can get like all of your party, or like 4 out of 5 stunned, and then you're going to be in for a bad time. Anyway, here's a Genie bottle. Let's use it. I am bound. Who are you? Ah, I see. The master is gone, and you've managed to get yourselves in trouble. You would be the proverbial genie in the bottle. That I would, manling. I assume that now that you have escaped, you have come seeking the magical item that has been stripped from you by our collective captor. You have an item of mine? I do. A thing of power that still carries a hint of your essence. There is something odd about the signature that you leave on this item. No matter. Can you give it to me? So yeah, he explains that he is actually bound here, and he has no power to do it, although he would if he was to be set free. So we have to bring him the true flask, and that is somehow going to release him. Yeah, this flask that I am bound in is a creation of magic. It is unbreakable as long as it remains apart from its twin, the real flask. And we can ask him about where to find that bottle, and he's going to provide us with a couple of suggestions. And one of them is true, because he mentioned the dryads, and it is them who have the bottle. So we have to go back to them. And as you can see, without Control J, teleporting ourselves, there would be a lot of, going back and forth. But we can actually spare ourselves the time. You are very noble to risk your own safety to free the genie. We have the flask and shall give it to you. So, and we have to now go back yet again to that plane.
Certainly.
And now we can give him the flask and release him. I sense that you have the flask. Of course, in RPG games, they always sense things. Alright, at last, I am free. Here is your item. And he warns us against the master. He tells us to make a quick escape. We got 15,000 experience for that, and Jaheira leveled up as a result. But what I wanted to draw attention to is that now, finally, we have our trusty Ashidina back again with us. The weapon that we used for like 95% of Baldur's Gate 1. And basically this is the change that the Enhanced Edition made. This is the last imported item that we can have imported in Baldur's Gate 2 in this version of Enhanced Edition, starting from 1.3. And normally, he told us that the item he had a hint of our essence, and normally what he would have is this Sword of Chaos +2. And it makes sense what he says, because presumably we had this item in our possession for a while after defeating Saravok, or because Saravok is our brother, because he was also a child of Baal, so his essence would be very similar to ours, I guess. So normally, yeah, we would get this sort of chaos from there. But what the Enhanced Edition does also makes a lot of sense, and it's actually pretty cool that you can have another item that you export from Baldur's Gate 1 into Baldur's Gate 2, and you can get actually your, Baldur's Gate 1 weapon in Baldur's Gate 2. And when it comes to Ashidina, it's not that big of a deal. Of course, it's cool to have Ashidina, but normally once we get out of this dungeon, we can very early on buy a Warhammer that's pretty much exactly like Ashidina. It's just called Borok's Fist. But when it comes to some other weapons, this export feature is actually really, really useful. For example, when it comes to Varskona, the longsword +2 with 1 cold damage on it, there is no equivalent to such a thing in Baldur's Gate 2. And so in Shadows of Amn, especially, for a long time, from the selection, the assortment of longswords, there's quite a big one, and there are decent longswords, but there's no longsword for a long while that has any type of elemental damage on it. So exporting Varskona, if you have a longsword user, would be very good. Of course, in our case, I'm not going to have anyone using long swords, so it wouldn't be too useful in our case, but it's just something to mention. So what Enhanced Edition does also makes a lot of sense, because of course this item carries our essence, because we've used it so much throughout the entirety of Baldur's Gate 1. Anyway, let's level up Jaheira. She progressed in Druid to level 9, and that is very, very important, because she now has access to level 5 spells, and that is huge. That is monumental for her. Let's just quickly do these spells. And yeah, level 5 in Druid is where it gets like really, really good. So some of the most notable spells here are Chaotic Commands, a very, very good protection in Baldur's Gate 2. One that we're going to use a lot, but we're going to have our Cleric memorize a couple of these, I guess. Very useful against many different types of opponents. Then we have Harper's Call. That's actually something that Druids normally don't have. Druids don't have Resurrection, but this is Jaheira's unique spell that she as a druid also has access to resurrection through this, because she's a harper, you know, you can read about the spell, and yeah, this is basically resurrection for a druid, just for Jaheira alone. Like now, we have Insect Plague, a very good spell, even in SCS. I'm saying that because SCS buffs up the Fire Shield spells, Fire Shield red and blue, to actually protect you against these insect spells, but still a very good spell. And then Iron Skins, of course. And this is basically Stone Skins for Druid, except that it has a casting time of 9, so a very long casting time makes it, well, less applicable, like, I guess, to cast it in combat, but of course she can always pre-buff with it, and it's a very long-lasting spell, very good one. Then we have Mass Cure, which is something that she's never going to memorize. We can get access to Mass Cure through the Dryad that we can summon from Cold Woodland Beings, and it's a nice AoE heal. Convenient, but yeah. And True Seeing is basically the go-to illusion and invisibility dispelling spell that both clerics and druids have access to, and then mages have a level 6 spell called True Sight, which is essentially the same thing. And yeah, Pixie Dust is a kind of an invisibility spell that's pretty good. Like, pretty much almost every spell here is good in some way. I'm going to go with Insect Plague for now, for some encounters that we're going to do after we get out of this dungeon. Some early encounters. And this is the last fight on level 1. And of course, Seneschia gets damaged immediately. You don't have to use your ranged daggers. Let's try to limit the damage potential of these crossbow guys. As you can see in SCS, you know, like I said before, they are going to try to run away and switch to melee eventually, but fortunately they didn't manage to do too much damage in this one. Encounter, we have an armor scroll and a firebow scroll here. So I can give them to Imoen. And now we are truly done with level 1 of this dungeon. And we can use this portal. Fortunately there's another one, we don't have to go back all the way here. But we can use this portal to travel to level 2. So let's do that. So yeah, we are teleported and a person approaches us immediately.
So there is sanity in all this madness. If you are not in league with the evil that dwells in this unholy place, Yoshimo begs your assistance.
So here's someone that Jaheira is suspicious of. And Yoshimo, you know, presents himself as a pretty pleasant, likable, friendly fellow. Apparently another captured person here who managed to somehow, you know, get some limited amount of freedom here on this level. So we can ask him how he got to be here, and because he's a thief, he mentions his profession, that it does not leave itself open to those who are not wary. But somehow he was caught in Athkatla, and he traveled there from Kara-Tur. Athkatla being the capital of Amn. So we can ask him if he thinks that we are in Athkatla, and he's not sure because he may have been drugged, and he couldn't tell. He can't say for sure, but it is an option. So anyway, he wants to join us so that we can escape together, and I will have him in my party. And he also shares with us what he discovered so far on this level. The first one is that in the next room there's going to be 4 portals that spawn mephits, and we have to destroy the portals instead of killing the mephits. So that's thing number 1. And in another room later on, there are going to be kind of like these wand turrets that are going to blast anyone who tries to come across the chamber that they guard. But we will be able to deactivate them with those different wand keys that we've been collecting. Yeah, each wand is locked into the pedestal and could be removed if one had the proper key. So, yeah, here's Yoshimo. He is indeed way more than he seems on the surface. He's a very relevant character in the story.
I am ready.
So let's take a closer look after fixing his script. So yeah, he has pretty good stats. He's a bounty hunter, which is a thief kit, which makes him a specialist in traps, basically. He has a 15% bonus to set traps, and he has another type of trap, his special trap as a bounty hunter, and these traps change as he levels up. And the disadvantage of that is instead of 25 skill points in the thieving skill points, he gets 20 upon level up. So a pretty good class, and you know, he has 17 strength, max dexterity, optimized constitution. Yeah, he's a good character, a pretty likable dude, and he has 100 in find traps, which is very nice, and 65 in open locks, which we will be able to progress in, you know, as we level him up. I'm going to keep him for a very short time. I'm not going to actually have him. We're going to re-recruit him later for a certain event, but you know, more on that later. He's proficient in katana and shortbow, and actually that matters because he has his own special, like, personal katana +1, which is pretty good for some initial backstabs that you can use him for. And he also has a shortbow and some arrows, which is basically the most important thing for us. And now Imoen can use her shortbow, and that gives her a 15 Thaco instead of 20, like with that light crossbow that she was not proficient in. And also these arrows can go to Minsk.
Yes.
Alright, and now we have one container to loot here for some hold person. And this is going to be the chamber with the portals, and they are immune to missile damage, so we're going to go with this katana of Yoshimo's, and she is actually going to have to equip her scimitar because it's very likely that she wouldn't be able to reach the portals with just a dagger, with the short range of a dagger. We might be able to see here our characters getting kind of stuck trying to get to the portals. Oh yeah, there's going to be methods, and after destroying each portal that the method is associated to, the method is going to die permanently. Yeah, of course they have all the annoying spells, and that collar spray was so effective. Wow. It like disabled so many characters of ours. Only Senashira and Jahira are operational. Come on, destroy that portal. Yeah. And so the method dies after the portal is destroyed. So yeah, quite a few of our characters got disabled by that. Fortunately, collar spray doesn't last for too long, so they're going to get back up from their unconscious state very soon. Here they go. And here we can see from afar a body that was experimented on, and someone died here as a result of these experiments. So let's approach.
Khalid? No. This is an illusion, a dream. A bad dream. Where are the mirrors, the switches to pull to show where he's hidden? Khalid! Damn you!
So yeah, very, very sad, emotional moment. We found Khalid. He was experimented on and died as a result of these experiments. So of course Jahira has a very emotional moment, understandably, and vows vengeance. I'll have the heart of who has done this. And yes, some of the responses you can have here, like who would ever choose this one? Like, you would have to be evil to the core. Or just like trolling around, you know, in your playthrough to use this one. That gets her pretty mad, I can tell you. Alright, so I guess this is the most normal one. Yeah, shut up, no more words. Words are nothing. She's going to be, you know, understandably very shaken by this, and she's going to insult a couple of our party members during all this, but... I knew him not, but I mourn for your loss, says Yoshimo. Stranger, nobody, I will not hear your words. Leave me. A brave man has fallen here, but that is no cause to hurl insults at the living. Here, Boo shall comfort you. Imbecile, affront to nature, what do you and your rodent know? What can you all know? Or what can you know? No words, no more words. Save your speeches, save your proverbs. The only voice I wish to hear is dead. And this is such a sad moment for Jahira here. Yeah, so she has the druidic kind of speech here. Khalid of my heart, let my love guide the way. And here we can suggest that there might be a way of resurrecting him, but apparently he's like too far gone. She's against that. Also as a druid, you know, They're kind of... that's why normally druids don't have a resurrection spell. They're kind of like against that kind of thing, I guess. Against altering the natural course of, you know, life and death. But I'm not going to press it. Yeah, we live in a time of miracles, and nature allows the rebirth of many that have passed beyond the veil, but there is a time when it is better to let go. So yeah. You can be, you know, bratty about it, but then we will not disturb his body further. We will honor his loss with future deeds. That is the way of things. There will be payment for this crime, and I shall not rest until it is collected. When we are able, there will be.
Chihira, I want to say how sorry I am about Khalid. I know this is hard.
No! You do not know. This is not the time for this conversation, child.
Stop calling me child. I'm as old as Senshira, and besides, I can tell you that Khalid did not suffer. So whoa, Imoen has some insight on the matter. What are you babbling about? I'm not babbling. I saw him do this. Khalid was dead when our captor started doing those things to him. You saw this? You watched as it was done? He showed me. He caught and showed me. He forced my eyes open and made me look as he... Stop, I don't want to hear this. He said I should see, so I would understand, but I don't know what he wanted. He would cut and say, "Do you see?" Cut and say, "Do you see?" Damn, this is freaky, dude. This is messed up. Be quiet, child, no more. So yeah, Imoen was shown some really dark stuff.
Right, you
And
are.
there's going to be more references later on to all this.
Without hesitation.
Yeah, now we have some looting to do. You know, let's turn our thoughts to something more pleasant. The loot. We can get another wand key from here. This is the Cloud Kill key. A very good wand. The Cloud Kill wands are going to be really the MVPs of this early stages of our SCS, like Baldur's Gate 2 playthrough. They are going to be instrumental in our doings. And here we have the Wand of Summoning key. And here we can keep the necklace on you, Minsk. Hopefully I will not forget to de-equip those jewelry items at a soon point, at a near in the future point, so we can sell those. Anyway, Wand of Fire key. And now we have some rooms to explore. Some hallways.
Yes.
There's going to be another disturbing thing that we're going to witness here. So more of these containers, more of these tubes here. We can inspect. And here's some kind of an assassin fighting an escaped clone. So we can allow them to duke it out. I could kill the assassin for some experience, but
If it must be done.
you know, they stand like this because their cosmetic attacks are disabled and they don't have a lot of attacks per round. So that's the consequence, I guess. But I like it more so that every swing is actually a real attack.
Return whence you came. This is not your place.
So yeah, that has come once again to prey upon me, my master. I'm not your master. Do for me? Do for me? After all that thou hast already done? So of course there's no convincing of that person. Yeah, thou hast created me in her image, but I am not her. I am not, and I shall never let thee touch me again. No more death to rise again, not her. So yeah, apparently Irenicus tried to clone her love interest,
Yes.
or his love interest, make just a copy of her. Actually, you may start using a ranged weapon, Yoshimo.
What is it?
And unfortunate, you know, there's no escaping the fight here.
What creature that clone thing was. She was a copy? A copy of another person?
I didn't want to talk over her. I wonder why Irenicus made her. I doubt he took pleasure in her company. He's beyond that. He's fascinated with death. He showed me over and over. Yeah, it's basically refers to why he had the dryads, I guess. That's how I take it. That, you know, he wanted to create a clone of her to, like, you know, invoke some emotions, I guess, in himself. And then we have the Wand of Missiles key. And you can see that this one, you know, she managed to escape from this broken tube
Speak.
and get away.
Yes,
Oh,
certainly.
we didn't loot the assassin, but he doesn't have anything. Yeah. It's the buckler and short sword. Here we have a pearl necklace, which is actually valuable. Here, Jahira, we're going to make you feel better. Put some jewelry on. That'll lift your spirits a little bit. Hopefully. Alright, another passage. And another assassin, this time fighting an ice mephit. And even if we help him and kill the mephit first, he's actually going to turn hostile and attack us. So, boom. Die. 750 experience though, which is pretty nice. Okay, Senashira is stunned by that Salt Mephit's ability. Let's not proceed further because there's going to be more people to encounter. Let's just wait out these stuns. Fortunately they are short ones, but you know, both Senashira and Jahira got stunned, so let's... Oh, okay, they showed up anyway. The Duergar, they heard the combat, so we have to press on, but... Oh, it's not... I guess the icon takes a little bit longer than the actual effect in this case. Jahira, running bear.
Yoshimo is willing.
Running at these Duergar.
With vengeance. If I have to fight to get out of here, so
Oh wow, they are all stuck. I was just looking somewhere else. And didn't see her just standing around, not fighting. Alright, so that's all the looting we're going to do. Actually, Kira and I can go back to her dagger. Here is going to be a trap.
Alright.
Let's have Imoen do the honors. Or actually, let's have...
Very well.
let's develop the practice of always using our highest level thief to disarm and unlock stuff. Because it doesn't make a difference here between her level 7 thief and level 10 Yoshimo, but there are a couple of different brackets where if you get higher level with your thief, it's going to provide you with more experience as you open locks and disarm traps. So here we get a little demonstration. Here are the different like wands mounted on these pedestals, and as you can see, when you are in front of those, they are going to unleash their wand charge, and we can like back up a little bit. So these Duergar, yeah, they triggered a wand of frost there, and they can trigger the wand of missiles here if they approach a little closer. And I shouldn't have done this with Senashira and her armor class, but yeah, let's have some ranged people. Finish these guys off. Okay, and now we can approach this. You can actually like walk on the edges here, and it's only this mosaic kind of floor that has the traps. But we can now, since we have all of these keys, we can now kind of disarm these traps and get the appropriate wand. So now we have a wand of missiles that we retrieved from this pedestal, and there's no trap here. We're going to be able to move normally. So we're going to do that kind of thing with all of these wands. And these wands only have one charge, but it's kind of a unsure if it was intended for you to recharge these wands or not. Basically, recharging, the mechanic that you can sell an item with charges to a merchant and then re-buy it or steal it from that merchant and basically get the item with the maximum amount of charges. And that's kind of a little controversial subject that I've talked about in our Baldur's Gate 1 playthrough. But basically, you know, here they either give you these wands with only one charge, just to show you like how wands work and that these items with charges can disappear once you use all the charges, perhaps. Or it kind of also seems like, you know, maybe they intended for you to have these wands and recharge them so that you can get like a fully charged wands. And I really hope you can't hear this drilling sound because I'm going insane here just hearing this. I'm trying to record these episodes like in between these drilling sessions, and it's Sunday today, so it shouldn't be any of this, but it drives me insane, man. I really hope you can't hear this and that it doesn't ruin my recording. Anyway, here we get a nice Ring of Protection +1. Let's see if Imoen can identify that, because I think Imoen has the highest lore out of our characters. Yoshimo has 30, she has 31. Yeah, she's not going to be able to identify the wands. We're going to have to do that later. And here there's going to be another encounter that we can witness, and we can actually
Let me have a taste. Come.
engage in this encounter. So here we have Ulveril. Ah, excellent. I see I am to be provided fresh blood for once. And she is a vampire. Where is your master, fiend? We seek Irenicus. Give us the upstart, and you shall survive. Already I am dead. Thief, join me in darkness. Enough. Kill this creature and raise the guild. Irenicus shall learn what it is to betray the Shadow Thieves. So apparently, maybe Irenicus had some dealings with the Shadow Thieves, and those are the Shadow Thieves who are attacking this dungeon complex here. And so yeah, there's a mage with them, with some protections. Now we're going to, in Baldur's Gate 2, we're going to see spells like spell deflection and spell turning way more often. And this vampire actually requires magical weapons to be hurt. So let's have Yoshimo use his katana. And we're going to leave Imon behind, and we're going to try to get the kill on this vampire, because she is worth 8,000 experience. So we're just going to try and kill her ourselves. We're doing some pretty good damage. Apparently dagger +1 is not enough. Yeah, plus one weapons are not enough. But yeah, Minsk managed to deal the remaining damage on her, and 8,000 experience for us.
Yes?
Pretty nice, but of course the assassins turn hostile, and now we have to fight them. So I'm going to go after the mage first. I think she only just has some basic spells like Chromatic Orb. Yeah, and Kira even saved against the stun. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, she tried to, throw some Melf's minute meteors, deal some damage, try to like move around, escape a little bit. That's all because of SCS. And of course she had the pre-buffs because of SCS, all of that. So yeah, we managed to get some experience, not from the assassins, but we, that 8,000 is pretty nice that we managed to get for the vampire lady. Okay, now we have some more passages. And I think, since there are still a couple of encounters awaiting us and quite a bit of exploration, I am going to finish this episode now, and we're going to continue in the next one. So thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.